So what I'm about to do in today's video is every weaver's nightmare. That's right, I'm about to do a sample. So my next project on my Sampleit Loom will be rags. So good old rags, nothing fancy there, but always very useful. And for this project, I've decided to try weaving with this yarn here from Lion brand, which is called Stitch, Soak, Scrub. So for me, that's really telling of how I can use them. And so this is basically nylon yarn. The way that the thread is made, it's kind of not braided, but it's like many little loops made together, and it really does look like one piece of thread. I have woven with a similar yarn before, but the yarn I used before, I don't know what brand it was, and it was like a very long strip of nylon that was braided together, and in order to weave with it, it wasn't that easy. However, I love the rag that we made out of this, so it really works well for scrubbing dishes. So I thought that this looked like a good improvement that could be very useful in the kitchen. Although this yarn was very promising, it still came a bit of a challenge when I started to weave the first rag on this work. Mind you, I have worked for a total of 5 rags on this. So the first few picks, I could already see that this yarn was not behaving like normal kind of yarn that I usually use, and the work was being a little bit funky and it wasn't like very straight anymore, and I didn't really like that, and I was worried that the rag wouldn't really do the job I wanted to do once it would be off the loom. So I thought that the best way to solve this would be to weave picks of 8-2 cotton in between. So the 8-2 cotton will work a little bit as a stabilizer, like a ground yarn to maybe help keep the structure of the cloth. I don't know if you heard that, that was my belly growling. It's close to lunchtime and apparently I'm very hungry. Talking about scrubbing dishes just makes me very hungry. Okay, so I figured out that this would be a solution, but I just didn't know exactly how. And I decided to, at first, sacrifice the first few inches of my project just to test it out. But then I kept being afraid of what it would happen after it's being wet finished. So would it really work the way I want it to work? And I just didn't want to waste the whole warp on this. I know it's only rags, but still, I mean, I'm working hard, so I wanted to be sure. And the only way to have a sense of certainty in weaving would be to sample. So I took all my courage and I decided to sacrifice the first rag as a sample. So what I did is that I tried different variations of the different picks, and I noted it all, and now I'm about to take it off the loom and put it into the washer and dryer and see how it goes. The sample all wet finish and ready. And yes, I am in a different place today, and get used to it because I just moved. There videos about this on my Patreon, then maybe a little bit on my channel. Today, let's focus on our rags. You can stay there, but I just need this. Okay, thank you. All right, so here what we have is just plain weave. So this will be sewn into the hem. So please ignore that, this is not part of the test. And now those are the first few pics I made where there were no pics of A2 cotton in between. So this looks very funky. Here I did a test where in each pic I had one pic of A2 cotton and one pic of nylon, and it still looks a little bit funky. So here what we have is 2 pics of A2 cotton and then 1 pic of nylon. It looks pretty nice, but I did have a little bit of a challenge managing the selvages. So I wasn't exactly sold on this idea because having to manage selvages this hard on a rag somehow wasn't inspiring to me. And here's the final test. So here I did 2 pics of A2 cotton and then 2 pics of nylon. And drum roll please. And so this is our winner. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of our rags. So this was the best option with less work but still a nice effect. It does look a little bit like a ribbing effect, and somehow this just screams perfect rag and scrubbing rag to me. So let's go. So as you can see, I've already made one and you'll be joining me for the second one. So this is just a 2 pics of scrap yarn to tell me where to cut once those will be off the loom. So I am again just weaving a bit of plain weave. This is about 1.5 inches just to be able to sew that in. And I'm using A2 cotton because I could be using 8/4 cotton like I was using in the work, but since that this will be sewn and it's already pretty thick, I'm thinking if I do it with a thinner yarn, I'll be giving myself a chance to have life a little bit easier. Start with 2 pics of nylon. My last pic of A2 cotton was into the up shed, so technically I would be ready to weave with it back into the down shed, but this pic will be done with this shuttle here. So, I'm just going to put the tail back inside like this. And then into the up shed, I weave 1 more pic. And then 2 pics of A2 cotton. And again, I'm ready to slide this into the down shed. I forgot to do it for the first pic, but if we grab onto the yarn that is resting, so here the resting yarn is the nylon yarn, it helps bring it along the edge and it makes nicer edges. It's not that much work and it does do a nicer effect. I know again those are just rags, but I mean they still need to feel okay, right? So here all I do is just go underneath this here. And so here the yarn is being grabbed along the edge. So now, as for the specific of the project, for the yarn, it's really a mix of everything, and I will link them all down below in the description of this video. Also, if you want to have the pattern of this, I will also link it down below, so it will be a link to my website. So for the yarn, so the nylon is Lion brand, the warp is 8-4 cotton from Hobbii, and the 8-2 cotton that I'm using in the WEFT also is 8-2 cotton from Maurice Brassard. So I'm using here my 16 inches Sampleit Loom, and I warped for 12 inches. I also warped a length of about 90 inches or 2 meters and 25 centimeters. So I'm weaving each rags for around 14 inches. I'm also using my 12.5 DPI Heddle. So the nylon I have here, it's like transparent. It feels like I'm not weaving anything, it's like pretty see-through. So rigid Heddle Loom weaving is super fun, but it can be intimidating when we start, and sometimes it's hard to learn only from YouTube. So if ever you wanted to have an in-class professor, well, note that on November 1st, 2025, I will be teaching my first in-person rigid Heddle Loom course. So this will be happening at Iron Textile down in Montreal. I will link it all down below, so you'll have all the information if ever you're interested. In this class, I will teach my students how to warp their loom for the first time. They will also have the chance to weave a little sample, which be like kind of a very small, a small towel. So if ever you're interested, I'll be very happy to meet you. And now back to the video. Finished. I just need to cut some ends, and the ends I was taking out from the nylon did unravel quite a lot, and they all got tangled together. I still think that the parts that are woven inside of the rags will be okay. Time will tell if I was right or not. But for now, I'm just going to trim the little bits that are hanging and hope for the best for the rest of their rag lives. the sewing of the first napkin is done, and I'm already too eager to try them and put them to a test. And turns out that today I cooked some ham pot pie and I made a whole mess in the kitchen, so that's a good test for me for today. And this will also end today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it, even though it's only rags. I think that every opportunity to be weaving is a good opportunity. So on that, I'll get to work and see you soon. Bye bye.